Welcome to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is on helping you, the real estate investor, advance to the next level. And now let's join this week's hosts and share ways for you to customize your life.
What do people around you say when you're like, I'm just out of here, regardless of what they pay me, I'm bored and I'm out?
It's a funny question. Like, some people couldn't believe it, and even at my old employer, some people said, like, so what, just cruise along, it's easy. And I was like, I can't do that. I'm bored. I need more. I know I can contribute more for myself and for others, and I want to go. And the arrangement that we had made with my wife was that, we were both employees. She would continue, and basically, like, as quickly as possible, I had to do project to supplement our income, whatever that was. So at first I actually took some small consulting contracts, and that went on for a little while, but I kept doing the research, I kept educating, and then it's a little bit afterwards that we picked up our first multifamily.
Okay, now where was this multifamily, and can you share maybe some details on how you acquired it, the price points, and all that good stuff?
Sure. So it's in Montreal. It's in Lachine. It's one of the neighborhoods, and it's, for those who kind of know Montreal, it's kind of between downtown and the airport, basically. And so that's actually one of the attractions of it, is because a lot of people in that neighborhood either work downtown or at the airport, or in Ville Saint Laurent, which is more manufacturing. So it was a good neighborhood, and I was looking at the time for like 1 to 4 units. I was working with an agent, and I asked, like, for the full listings for a couple of properties in that neighborhood. And then he actually emailed me and said, hey, there's also this one, but you didn't ask about it. So he sent it to me, and it was a 5 unit. They were asking for 510. Now that was 2019. And it was, after going through the listing, I actually went on site, and it was kind of peculiar because usually in that neighborhood, or in that zoning block rather, it's only duplex, triplex. But this one, it was a 5 unit. It was a triplex in the front. There was a little passage along the property line, and then a duplex in the back with like kind of like an inner courtyard and stuff. And I just saw so much potential. And so we went and made an offer, and we actually got it. We got it down at 485. So like not even 100K a door, which now thinking about it is like a dream.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And I'm just curious because, in Ontario, as an example, where I'm investing, there's landlord-tenant rules that are not as favorable for landlords. And I heard, and I don't know, but you can educate us much better, that Montreal was also a little bit difficult with landlord-tenant rules.
That's right. The laws here are very pro-tenant. It's like that throughout the province, and almost, I guess, throughout Canada. We have the le TAL, which is the Tribunal Administratif du Logement. So it's like a court for lodging, basically. And there's a lot of laws, rent increases. There's a very strict calculation. I mean, we all know what it is in Canada. But in this place, for this property, we got lucky because out of the 5, one tenant had said that she was going to leave. She lived in the semi-basement that we wanted to renovate. And then in the duplex, one guy had a court case against him to be evicted, but the landlord never actually enforced it. And then the one upstairs had some issues, and I thought it was just a question of time. And actually, like, within 3 months, we got those 3 units vacated.
Wow, that's pretty uncommon, I guess, these days. It is a lot tougher, with the tough landlord-tenant board here in Ontario, again in Quebec, same type of things. And you mentioned how you acquired this property. It was by chance that the realtor had set this particular opportunity amongst another list of opportunities. What's changed, I guess, in terms of how you were finding properties, and now to current day, how you're finding opportunities and deals for the projects that you're deciding to move forward on.
Yeah, totally. So right now, surprisingly, like, we're still finding properties listed on Centris, like on the market. And we acquired one in December that was listed on the market, and we just were there at the right time, the right place. It was listed for about a week. We bought a fully vacant 4 unit right next to the metro for 400K. Which is really like 70 cents on the dollar. And that was on market. And then we also acquire now through just fully off market, just that we found through the network. So bird dogs, people we know, and also full on prospecting, where we contact owners and see if they'd like to sell.
I mean, it's interesting that these properties, in retrospect, they sound very inexpensive, right? And so, like, just looking at it, maybe somebody's in BC or somebody's in Ontario, and they're like, well, that's not even 100 K a door. What are the rents? Like I'd be curious to know, like, are they comparable to what we're seeing here? Are they less expensive? Like, can you share, maybe what a 1, 2, and 3 unit, and I know it's dependent on the
Yeah,
location and stuff, but just like on average.
sure. Okay, so for the first property, the first fiveplex I was talking about, we renovated the units and we took some 2 bedrooms to 1150, and now they're at 1200. And then the ones that are renovated, sorry, the ones that are upstairs and unrenovated, if the tenants right now pay about 650, 675, and if they were to leave, we would literally double the rent. And so in the new property that we just acquired in December, it's fully vacant. So, and it needs it's a full gut, full strip and full redo, at least on the ground floor. But that property will generate about $1,200 to $1,400 per unit per month. And that's for between 1 and 2 bedrooms. And we include all appliances and Wi-Fi. So I don't know how it compares to BC and Vancouver. Obviously, if you're in Gastown, like in a top tower, like it's very different. But for Montreal prices, that's more or less what it is. And this is where I had a big reality check, is that it's in Laval, in a neighborhood that I know a little bit less. But I have a buddy of mine, shout out to him actually, who, when I told him about the place, was like, "Oh my God, this is an amazing location." He had bought a triplex over there, and he's just listing it now at 1.1 million. And that's a fourplex for 400K, and we're putting about 250 into it. Like, we can't go wrong. And this was found on market. So it always makes me laugh, people who say there's no opportunities, everything's too expensive and this and that. That's not true. You're not looking properly enough, and you gotta pound the phone. You gotta look, or you gotta find other people to do that work for you. But there is plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, so I guess you're absolutely right. The opportunities are there. If you're not looking in the right places or having, that consistency of going out there, it's easy to maybe say that or lament and complain that you can't find those opportunities. But having the right people looking for those types of deals, or knowing exactly what you're looking for, and in those certain areas as well too. So, in terms of, like you said, the rents now, you probably, I guess we didn't really touch this, but give us an overview of what the current portfolio looks like. Are you self-managing? How does that look like? How do you manage? Do you have joint venture partners? What's the kind of the makeup of your current portfolio?
Sure. So it's a small multifamily, so 5 units. We have 2 5s, 1 4. We have right now a duplex that we're turning into a 5. We're at the permit level, and now we just picked up another one to build a 17 unit with 16 underground parking spots, 5,000 square feet of commercial on the ground floor, and then 16 units above. So that's what I'm working on now. It's been about a month and a half, and it's taking quite a bit of juice. And so really, in terms of, like, we've done some partnership. The first 5 unit, the one in Lachine, we did it with a partner, 50% of the equity, and that's worked out fairly well. So, but it's just that after that, we were able to actually kind of self-finance, or we took some loans from private investor. We have another investor who's with us, for example, for 300K at 8% for a year, no equity. So it always kind of depends on how the partner wants to structure it. Some, as you know, like, some people want equity, some people just want a return on their money. We're open to both. And for the 17 unit, we took on a partner for 25%. Of it, and so that's why. And now I'm looking at lands for 120 units. There's a project that I worked on last year that got into a bit of legal trouble and stuff like that, but now it's back on, and so I'm back at it, and that is for 3 times 40, 3 buildings of 40 units. Sorry, so trying to get bigger and bigger projects, because you guys have gone through it. Like, by the time you buy a 6 unit or a 12, it's the same amount of work. You might as well just pack more unit onto that same roof.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first and foremost, congratulations, because it sounds like you scaled very quickly in a short amount of time as well. Now you're working on some cool projects. So now you're getting into development, you're getting into building. How are you structuring these new bigger deals now?
So the 17 unit is the one that we have right now. It's in a corporation. I have a partner that's coming into it in his private name. I have a holding company that owns my share into that company. And then we're taking advantage, we're both bringing cash to it. And then we are taking advantage of the new CMHC APH program, so 95% of construction. And so that's what we're in the process of starting now. Yeah, in terms of structure, it's actually really basic. Like now for the other ones, like now we have more and more investors that are like, hey, Axel, I've been following you. I think it's cool what you're doing. I'd love to jump in. And so now we register, a new company for every project, and we take those investors within that newly incorporated vehicle, basically.
Thanks for listening to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is on helping all levels of real estate investors advance to the next level and help you customize your life. Be sure to tune in next week at reiteclub.com/podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you get a few seconds, please rate the podcast wherever you're listening. It helps the show get noticed by others like you, and we truly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe.